Body and soul. With all effort and energy, she dedicated herself body and soul to completing the complex experiment. Body and soul. Used to emphasize that someone does something with all their effort and energy. She dedicated body and soul to the research project. Bomb, drug, fraud, etc. Squad, noun. A group of police officers who have special skills to deal with particular problems. The bomb squad safely defused the suspicious package near the lab. Bomber, aircraft. An aircraft that drops bombs. The bomber was deployed for simulation exercises in aerodynamics research. Bond, verb. To develop a strong relationship. The team bonded over long hours of collaborative research. Bounce back, email. If an email returns due to a problem. The notification bounced back because the recipient address was incorrect. Bound up with STH. Closely connected with something. Success in the experiment was bound up with proper calibration of instruments. Bow, music. A long thin piece of wood for playing instruments. The violinist adjusted the bow before the recital. Brass, music. Musical instruments made from brass. The orchestra's brass section performed a key role in the symphony. Break, become known. If news becomes known. The discovery broke in the journal before the conference presentation. Break, opportunity. A lucky opportunity. Receiving the grant was a break that enabled the long-term study. Break, storm. If a storm starts suddenly. The storm broke during the fieldwork, forcing evacuation. Break, weather. If weather changes suddenly. The weather broke and heavy rain damaged the outdoor samples. Break free. To escape from something controlling. The experimental particles broke free from the containment field unexpectedly. Break new ground. To do something completely new. The study broke new ground in genetics. Break new ground, idiom. To do something different. The study broke new ground in renewable energy modeling. Break new ground, idiom. To do something that is different to anything that has been done before. The research project broke new ground in renewable energy storage. Break the news to SB to tell someone unpleasant news. The lab director had to break the news to the team about the failed experiment. Break the news to SB. To tell someone unpleasant information. Doctors carefully break the news to patients. Breakdown, explanation. A short explanation of details. A breakdown of the protocol was provided to all lab members. Breed contempt, ignorance, etc. To cause something bad to develop. Unchecked bias can breed ignorance in research interpretations. Bribery. Offering money or presents to influence actions. Bribery in research undermines scientific integrity and reproducibility. Bridge, connection. Something that connects groups and improves relationships. The collaborative workshop acted as a bridge between two research departments. Bring a lump to your throat. To cause strong emotion. Images of disaster victims can bring a lump to your throat. Bring a lump to your throat, idiom. To make feel strong emotion. The heartfelt tribute brought a lump to the researcher's throat. Bring a lump to your throat, idiom. To make you feel such strong emotion that you want to cry. The documentary about endangered species brought a lump to my throat. Bring out the best in SB to cause someone's best qualities to show. Collaborative lab environments bring out the best in researchers by fostering shared problem solving. Bring out the best in SBE verb. To cause someone's best qualities to show. Mentoring programs bring out the best in young scientists. Bring STH to light. To discover hidden information. Whistleblowers brought unethical practices to light. Bring STH to light, verb. To discover information about something bad. Investigators brought to light the data manipulation in prior publications. Broad-minded. Willing to accept others' behavior and beliefs. Broad-minded educators encouraged unconventional experimental approaches. Burn the midnight oil. To work late at night. Researchers burned the midnight oil before publication. Burn the midnight oil. To work late at night. Researchers burned the midnight oil. Burst into flames. To suddenly start burning. The chemical sample burst into flames when exposed to air. By all means. An expression of agreement. By all means replicate the experiment. By the same token, phrase. In a similar way. By the same token, the control group was treated identically. By virtue of STH, phrase. Because of something. By virtue of his experience, he was appointed lead investigator for the project. By in leaps and bounds. If progress happens very quickly. The AI research progressed in leaps and bounds after additional computational resources were provided. Call it a day. To stop doing something. Especially working. Call this be names. To insult someone verbally. Calling colleagues names undermines teamwork. Cannot afford. Impossible to do without causing problems. The project cannot afford delays because funding and time are limited. Can't he couldn't very well do STH. Used to say that something is not suitable or practical to do. We couldn't very well use household bleach in sensitive chemical reactions. Can't he couldn't very well do STH, phrase. Used to say that something is not a suitable or practical thing to do. They couldn't very well repeat the experiment without proper equipment. Carry weight, idiom. To be considered important and effective in influencing someone. Her opinion carries weight in discussions about environmental policy. Cast your vote, phrase. To vote. Citizens were encouraged to cast their vote in the referendum on environmental policy. Cast doubt on STH. To make something seem uncertain. New data cast doubt on the initial hypothesis of the experiment. Cast your mind back. To try to remember. Cast your mind back to earlier trials. Catch SB off guard, idiom. To surprise someone by doing something when they are not ready to deal with it. The unexpected chemical reaction caught the intern off guard. Catch SB's eye, idiom. To get someone's attention by looking at them. The colorful diagram caught the professor's eye immediately. Catch SB's eye, idiom. To be attractive or different enough to be noticed by people. The innovative device caught the attention of investors and caught their eye. Catch sight of STH. To see something suddenly, often only for a short time. The student caught sight of the rare specimen as it moved through the microscope field. Clear the air, idiom. To reduce anger or tension. A transparent discussion helped clear the air and restore cooperation. Come in handy. To be useful at some time in the future. A portable microscope can come in handy during field research. Come in useful, phrase. To be useful and help someone do or achieve something, especially when there is nothing else to help them. The portable sensor came in useful during fieldwork in remote locations. Come into being. To start to exist. The consortium came into being following international agreement. Come to light. To be discovered. New evidence came to light during the forensic analysis. Come to terms with STH, phrase. To accept a sad situation. The scientists came to terms with the failure of the experiment and planned improvements. Come to the SB's rescue, a noun. To help someone in a difficult situation. The emergency team came to the rescue when the chemical spill occurred. Come to think of it, phrase. Used to say that you have just thought of something. Come to think of it, the samples might have been contaminated. Come under fire, idiom. To be criticized. The study came under fire for lack of control variables. Come get to grips with STH, idiom, no plural. To understand and deal with a problem or situation. The new interns had to get to grips with the complex lab equipment quickly. Come go into effect. To start being used. The new chemical handling rules come into effect next semester. Could might etc. yet, phrase. Used to say there is still a possibility that something will happen. The solution could yet be found despite earlier failures. Counseling. Process of listening and giving advice. University counseling supports students facing mental health challenges. Counselor. Someone who gives advice about problems. The counselor helps students manage research stress. Count, be accepted. To be accepted as part of something. The minor contribution still counts towards the final project grade. Count, consider. To think of someone or something in a particular way. The findings count as significant evidence in the study. Count, include. To include something in a calculation. The calibration error was counted in when calculating total uncertainty. Count, number. Total number you get after counting. The count of bacterial colonies reached 2,500 in the petri dish. Count SB in. To include someone in an activity. The professor counted the new graduate student in for the lab rotation. Count towards STH. To be part of what is needed to achieve something. Attendance at seminars counts towards the course credit. Count up SB STH or count SB STH up. To add together all people or things in a group. The assistant counted up all samples before storage. Counter, disk. A small disk used in board games. The game used colored counters to represent different experimental conditions. Coup. A sudden takeover of a country using force. The scientists compared political coups to sudden shifts in organizational control systems. Course, development. The way something develops over time. The course of the chemical reaction was monitored for 48 hours. Courteous. Polite and showing respect. The lab manager remained courteous when addressing procedural mistakes. Cover, STH up. To stop people discovering the truth about something bad. The researchers attempted to cover up inconsistencies in the dataset, which compromised credibility. Crack, line. A line on the surface of something damaged. A crack appeared in the beaker after repeated heating cycles. Crack, SB, up. To laugh a lot or make someone laugh. The professor cracked up the students with a humorous analogy about electron flow. Crack down. To start dealing with bad behavior in a more severe way. The university decided to crack down on plagiarism after repeated violations. Crack up. To become mentally ill. Overwork caused the researcher to crack up during peak experimental periods. Crack down. Action to stop bad behavior severely. The government initiated a crackdown on unauthorized genetic experiments. Cramp SB's style, idiom. To prevent someone from enjoying themselves, especially by going somewhere with them. The constant supervision cramped the intern's style during the field study. Crave. To want something very much. Patients with high sugar intake often crave additional sweets despite health advice. Craving. A strong feeling of wanting something. Nicotine cravings were measured in the study participants. Crawl, insect. To move using legs. Ants crawled across the petri dish during observation. Craziness. The state of being crazy. The lab team noted the craziness of attempting simultaneous experiments under extreme conditions. Credibility. When someone can be believed and trusted. The scientists' credibility depended on reproducible results. Creep, unpleasant. Someone unpleasant. The new assistant was considered a creep by some colleagues due to unprofessional behavior. Creep along the down, in, out, etc. To move quietly and carefully. The gel solution crept along the edge of the container slowly. Cricket, insect. An insect that jumps and makes a noise. Crickets in the field trial affected the acoustic measurements. Crisp, material. Clean and looks new. The lab used crisp filter paper for sample absorption. Crisp, weather. Pleasantly cold and dry. Crisp weather improved the outdoor data collection conditions. Critical, opinions. Giving careful judgments. Peer reviewers provided critical analysis of the submitted manuscript. Cross, lined border. To travel over a border or line. The drone crossed the boundary line during ecological monitoring. Cross SB's path. To meet someone. Especially by accident. Cross SB's path. Meet accidentally. She crossed his path at the lab. Crude, rude. Rude and offensive. Crude remarks in lab meetings reduce team cohesion. Crude, without skill. Made in a simple way. The first prototype was crude but demonstrated the principle effectively. Crumble. To break into small pieces. The dried agar sample crumbled when touched. Crush. To press something flat or break it. The mechanical press crushed the metal sheet into a thin layer. Crush, crowd. A crowd forced to stand close together. The lecture hall was a crush during guest speaker presentations. Crush, love. A strong temporary feeling of love. He had a crush on a fellow lab assistant, which was harmless but noticeable. Cry, animal, a bird. A sound that a particular animal makes. The nightingale's cry was recorded for acoustic analysis. Cry out, STH. To shout or make a loud noise. The injured mouse cried out when handled roughly. Cry your eyes out. To cry a lot about a problem. The student cried their eyes out after the failed experiment. Cry your eyes out. If someone cries their eyes out, they cry a lot about a problem or situation. The student cried her eyes out after failing the crucial lab test. Crystal, glass. A type of high-quality glass. The lab used crystal cuvettes for precise spectrophotometry. Crystal clear. Very easy to understand. The procedure was explained in crystal clear steps to all new staff. Cultivate, develop. To try to develop or improve something. Researchers cultivate beneficial bacteria in controlled lab conditions. Cunning. Clever at getting what you want, especially by tricking people. The cunning design of the experiment minimized human error. Curb. To limit or control something. Strict regulations were introduced to curb emissions from factories. Cushion, protection. Something which protects you from possible problems. The thick padding served as a cushion for delicate instruments during transport. Custody, child. The legal right to look after a child. The court awarded custody of the child to the mother. Custody, prison. When someone is kept in prison while awaiting trial. The suspect was held in custody pending further investigation. Cut back, STH. To reduce the amount of money spent on something. The lab had to cut back on supplies due to budget constraints. Cut STH short. To stop doing something before it is finished. The experiment was cut short when equipment malfunctioned. Cut STH short or cut short STH. To have to stop doing something before it is finished. The experiment was cut short due to a power failure. Cutlery. Knives, forks, and spoons. Laboratory cutlery should be kept sterile to avoid contamination. Cynical. Believing people are only interested in themselves. The researcher was cynical about the peer review process after repeated rejections. Darkness, night falls. Used to say that it is becoming dark. As night fell, the nocturnal observations began. Dash, amount. A small amount of something. Add a dash of salt to the chemical solution. Dated. Not modern. The lab equipment was outdated and dated, reducing efficiency. Dawn on SB to become aware of something after a period of not being aware. It suddenly dawned on her that the sample was mislabeled. Dazed. Not able to think clearly because of shock or injury. The lab assistant was dazed after the chemical spill. Dazzle, extremely good. To be extremely impressed or excited by someone, something. The innovative microscope design dazzled the attending researchers. Dazzle, light. To make someone unable to see for a short time. The bright laser dazzled the student during the demonstration. Dazzling, bright. So bright you cannot see briefly. The dazzling sunlight reflected off the polished metal surface. Dazzling, exciting. Extremely good and exciting. The conference featured a dazzling array of technological innovations. Dead body. Part of your body cannot feel. The anesthetized area of the patient was dead to touch. Dead, complete. Complete. The machine stopped completely, and the system was dead. Dead, quiet. Too quiet and nothing interesting happening. The laboratory was dead on Sunday, with no staff present.